Hello there, my lovelies. So today I'm going to be painting a galaxy for you, well, a space painting of sorts. And some of you may remember that a long time ago I posted a video on painting a galaxy. Unfortunately, the audio was really bad and I got quite a few comments saying how I was too quiet or they couldn't hear properly. There were noises in the background. So this is a revamped and re-uploaded version. So I have all my paints just down here ready to go. So I'm using a mixture of metallic paints and just plain acrylic paint. And for today's video I'm using some very small brushes. These are the System 3 brushes, I believe. So I have a 4, a 6 and a 10 at the moment. I'll also be using some slightly thinner brushes. These are 1/8, just to get the really fine detail in, because as you can see it's a very big canvas, but we're going to be using a lot of small dots to make up the image, so I need quite small brushes for it. I'm going to start with my largest brush first of all, and I'm just going to mix my paints a little. Just to start off with, I'm going to be using a mixture of silver and white. So I'm just going to mix those. Okay. And if you want to try this at home, basically you're going to be going in a spiral direction. So I'm going to go this way. You could go the other way if you wish, but it just feels more natural to me to go this way. So in the middle you want to do a series of dots and just cluster them together. And you don't need to be neat at this stage because you're going to be layering it up, but this is just to give you your focal point. Okay. Just zoom you in there. Okay, so as you work out from the center, you're just going to spiral round. So I'm going to take the tail end here and just start to move out. Okay. Okay, so mine's going in a bit of a perfect circle at the moment, but what you are aiming to do is to elongate it out a bit, because if you've seen pictures of this sort of thing, they tend to be a lot longer than rounded from the angle that they're at. And it kind of looks like an eye at the moment, but I might just put another row in there. I think I've gone a bit wide, which is fine. I'll just add to my spiral. Okay. So you just want to carry on going around your center point. Like so. So I'm starting to come out a bit wider and round. Oh, my little dots. Okay. It still kind of looks like an eye. Okay, so I'm going to start thickening out the outer edges. And at this stage you can start to add other colours depending on what sort of colour theme you want for your little galaxy. So I'm going to start to add a little bit of yellow, and you just want to build it up gradually. You don't want a lot of colour at first because you're going to add more in later on. Okay, just add some ochre. You can even drag your colour out and carry it on where the white was. So we have our spiral, and next you're going to start branching your spiral off. Now, there's no rule for how many branches you can have coming off, so it's really about your painting and how you feel you want it to go. So I'm going to start from this outer edge here, and I'm just going to drag it around. Now you want it to go in the direction of your spiral, so just take you out there, and then I'm going to start adding down the bottom here. Just adding a bit of white back in, just to tie it in to our little edge we had. Okay. This is when it starts to really come into its own and you can see it start to take shape. And these branches are going to become your continuing spiral, so you won't need to take this line out any further. You'll just be adding to the outside. Okay. Just going to lengthen these out. Okay. and start my next one up here. So this is a really simple method of just building up an image with a series of dots. Okay. Start to add my yellow back in, just like so. Okay. So I'm just going to carry on around my centre spiral. So I've carried on around my spiral, layering up with my little branches. Now you may not be able to see them very well because they're kind of blended into each other. You can still see some of the lines, like this one round here, down the bottom. And what I've done is, from my original branch, I've added more branches. So I have a line that comes around here, and then a little line that's coming off of it. And that is all you need to do. It's just simply adding to your lines as you go around. And in the middle, I've started to add my colour. So I've got some yellows and some ochres in there. And as it pans outwards, the colour will get less. And I'm just going to start adding some blues and purples now to the outer ring. So for that, I'm going to change my brush. I'm going to go for a slightly narrower one. So I'm now using the 4. And at this stage, I'm still keeping the colours quite pale and muted because I want to gradually add the colour in. So I'm going to grab a pale blue, just mix it a little. I'm going to add a little bit of silver to it as well, just to give it the extra metallic-y finish. Okay, and then I'm going to start on the outer ring, so just popping the odd blue dot in between the white ones. Okay, don't know if you can see that very well, but I will put pictures after the initial video so you can watch to the end, or if you'd like just to skip straight to the end to see what it looks like. I'm dragging it a little bit into the yellow, so only a few, but just pop some blue dots there, and that helps to blend it in a bit. I'm using the very tip of my brush to do the very fine dots. So as you come to the end of your little branch or tail, you want to make sure the dots are very small. Okay. Just add some down here. And this is where you really get to see the colours pop, and it starts to look a bit more like a galaxy. Okay. of course this will be your painting when you're doing it yourself, so you can add as many colours as you like. You don't have to follow the pattern I have. You could start with green in the middle and go outwards to red or something. Make it really psychedelic. Okay. Now I'm using the blue to drag out my branches a little. So again, I'm expanding it outwards further. But this time I'm using primarily blue and not a lot of white. Okay. Just dragging it outwards, and because I now have a solid line going around this corner here, I might actually take my blue and drag it outwards. So let's do that. So you basically take where there is a reasonable gap and you just add to it. Okay. Okay, so you can see there where I've just added that little bit in. And then just drag it around. Okay. Now, because as many of you know, I really like purple, so I think for my next colour I'm going to add some purple in. This time I'm using a pure metallic paint, and when it dries it'll give it that really nice metallic-y shimmer. So I'll do that in a moment. Just adding to my branches under here. Okay. So you can see how it's really starting to take shape. It looks like a proper swirl now, and it's up to you how wide or large you want your galaxy to expand to, but I want to keep mine quite contained, so I'm not going to go too wide this time, but I will be adding stars and other little spacey bits around it. So carry on dragging my colour around. Okay, and now I'm going to start to add a little bit more of a dark blue, so it's a bit more intense. And add that into my light blue. Again, making sure my dots are much smaller as they come to the tail end. Okay. Here we have my finished galaxy swirl. So my painting isn't complete quite yet, as I'm going to pop a few stars and odd little bits around it, but you get the general sort of idea of how to build up your galaxy. Now, once you have your main structure, you can add a few little odd colours and stars near the edge of your sort of outer rim here, and then it's really up to you what you want to add. You can add spaceships or asteroids, anything really, it's up to you, it's your painting. So I'm going to finish this off, and as I said before, I will post pictures at the end of the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really enjoyed painting this for you, and as always, I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.